There was a time when Infinity War Thor was considered the most powerful version of the god of thunder. But over the years, Thor kept evolving, becoming stronger and wiser with every battle. And in some alternate universes, there exist versions of him far more brutal and unstoppable than anything we've seen before. This story explores the most powerful versions of Thor ever seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, excluding comic adaptations. At number 10, we have Unworthy Thor, a time when Odin realized Thor had grown too arrogant to be a king. Odin stripped him of his powers and banished him to Midgard, leaving him without his hammer or godhood. Even then, Thor's 1,500 years of combat experience made him a fierce warrior strong enough to defeat one of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s best fighters as a mortal. His deep knowledge of space and other realms remained intact, and when the Destroyer attacked Earth, Thor proved his worth once again and regained his powers. At number 9, we have Throg, the frog version of Thor briefly shown in the MCU. In one alternate universe, Loki's magic transforms Thor into a frog. When he touches a fragment of Mjolnir, he becomes the Frog of Thunder. With the same powers as Thor, only scaled down, Throg even led the Pet Avengers more than once. At number 8, we have Asgardian children Thor, from the time when the God Butcher kidnapped the Asgardian kids. While Thor fought Gorr, he temporarily granted his thunder powers to the children through the Odin Force. Though inexperienced, they fought bravely, their overflowing lightning showing both power and chaos, a glimpse of what it means to wield the thunder of a god. At number 7, we have 1602 Thor from What If, Season 2, representing one of the weaker versions. This Thor from an ancient universe ruled as king, but lacked both Mjolnir and Stormbreaker. He fought using a sword and could summon lightning, but physically, he wasn't even on par with a super soldier. Though he once took down Wanda Merlin, he struggled against Captain Carter, reckless, unworthy, and far from the god we know. At number 6, we have Jane Foster as the mighty Thor. Years before, Thor unknowingly cast a protection spell on Mjolnir. When Jane's cancer became untreatable, Mjolnir found her worthy and granted her the powers of Thor. Despite being new to those abilities, Jane destroyed shadow creatures, circled Earth twice, and fought Gorr the God Butcher head-on. Her shattered hammer allowed her to launch multiple attacks at once, but becoming Thor halted her cancer treatment, and she ultimately sacrificed herself. Even so, without her, Gorr would never have been defeated. At number 5, we have Party Thor, where Odin never adopted Loki. Thor grew up as a carefree, spoiled prince who never took life seriously. But surprisingly, most of his enemies became his friends. Even without unlocking his true power, he managed to defeat Captain Marvel, and he wasn't even fighting seriously. Later, this version of Thor joined the Guardians of the Multiverse. At number 4, we have 1988 Thor, also seen in What If, Season 2, who faced Star-Lord when he attacked the Avengers. Thor's entrance alone knocked Star-Lord out, but the real enemy was Ego, the living planet. Still in his pre-awakened state, this Thor relied heavily on Mjolnir. Every time he threw or summoned it, massive lightning shockwaves exploded, powerful enough to annihilate Ego's minions. It was a unique display of the hammer's destructive potential. At number 3, we have Zombie Thor. After Thanos' zombie virus wiped out Rocket and Groot, Thor fell into a long depression. But when Valkyrie and the surviving heroes needed him, he returned to battle. This time, his lightning had turned red, corrupted by dark magic. In one strike, he destroyed sorcerers. In another, he obliterated the Blade Knight. His Stormbreaker wasn't even real, just a cursed magical replica. But it was still devastating. This version showed the terrifying difference between a mortal fighter and a true god. At number 2, we have 616 Thor, who has faced countless trials and emerged more powerful each time. He has fought Skyfathers, monsters, and even Infinity Stone users. In future events like Doomsday and Secret Wars, he is expected to be one of the strongest Avengers ever. Now wielding both of his godly weapons and harnessing the Odin Force, he is beginning to tap into the potential for magic itself. His current enemies are formidable, the Olympians after his brutal clash with Zeus, Doctor Doom, whose confrontation seems inevitable, and Sentry, whose unstable mind might lead to a deadly rematch. Finally, at number 1, we have Watcher Storm Thor. In What If, Season 3, Storm becomes the goddess of thunder, gaining control over all natural forces. With Mjolnir in her hand, she commands every ability Thor possesses and more. At one point, she summoned Asgardian energy across the multiverse to find the Watcher. Later, she swore an oath and became a Watcher herself, ascending to a low multiversal level being. She can travel across realities and manipulate cosmic energy with ease. Her powers are still evolving, but once fully mastered, she could rival even beings like Infinity Ultron. These are the most powerful cinematic versions of the God of Thunder, each one unique and each one proving that Thor's legacy stretches far beyond a single universe.